Nigeria. This is Nigeria's dream. Nigerians want to know, do they have to go to China tomorrow to get a letter of employment? Maybe some owner is somewhere. Tell us who the owners are.
Yes.
Why is Novostal a partner? Why is Proforce Manufacturing a partner? Is any partner bringing in money, or are they holding interest for some group of people?
Okay.
Just let us know. We heard you say that the resuscitation of the steel plant will cost nothing less than roughly $2 million. $2 billion. So to my layman understanding, if a tripartite agreement is to be formed, then that means one of the parties, maybe Novostal or maybe Proforce Manufacturing, is a partner that is going to fund the resuscitation. That's what made them to be partners. So I need to know, but hearing you say that you were going to source for the money again, so then what formed this tripartite agreement? Why is Novostal a partner? Why is Proforce Manufacturing a partner if they are not going to bring in the $2 billion? And also, I see here on item 2, page 10, you talked about the concession of Ajaokuta Steel Company. You requested $4 billion. Please educate us. Has it been concessioned now? Is Ajaokuta Steel Company now being concessioned to Novostal and Proforce to the team, or is this team only going to see the resuscitation upon which it will be concessioned? Just let us be clear at that. And lastly, I would like to know what the host community engagement and considerations are with this partnership leading to the resuscitation. Thank you.
For that question, and Honorable Minister, please, I just want to make it in a way that let's go with the questions, at least maybe 3 he will answer, then we'll go back so that there wouldn't be so many questions and then waiting to be answered. Thank you. Is that okay? Yeah. So can you go on?
Mr. Minister, in your... Sorry? Oh, okay. Hello. So, Mr. Minister, your project names, well, I think you need to explain some of them because I think, one, they are repetition, 2, some of them are not clear. I'll start from page 10. Number 3, you said procurement of capital store items. Nothing is listed, and if you look at it, number 8, number 9, number 10, procurement process for award of contracts. Purchase of ID card, you can see that is clear. But going to number 16, provision of techniques in steel raw material processing.
Senators and esteemed colleagues, Mr. Minister, thank you for your presentation. I have great concern. I think part of my concern was alluded to by the distinguished senator from your state. And I must say that if you look at page 20, I'm interested in this because choice of language. You said here, you just told us that you need about $2 billion to revamp the Ajaokuta steel industry. And at the same time, you didn't mention in your first paragraph that the process of selecting technical audit team and about to commence the auditing of the entire plant. So how did you come about this fund that need to be revamp the plant when the audit had not been started? And secondly, I have repeated in 2 occasions we have an interface with you that we have had more than 3 several auditing of this Ajaokuta firm. 3 several auditing. I mentioned it the last time we met in the office. And each of these audit firms were paid and selected and paid. Why not fall back on it? Why do you always commence audit of these firms when you have 3 existing reports on this audit at Ajaokuta Steel? It was done during the time of Obasanjo. It was done subsequently during the time of Jonathan. And these audit reports are there. Why do we need to commence every time to audit before we allocate figures on this? And I know it is based on this figure to revamp this that you are telling us that the Nigerians cannot afford to do. That's why you're going to tripartite agreement. But if you have an audit report, that is it is based on the audit report that you'll be able to know how much actually is going to cost us to revamp it. Are you falling back on the old report? Are you anticipatory on the report before you put this figure? So I'm interested in knowing this. Thank you.
Sorry, please, the audit, please. Honorable Minister, and in asking this question, I might a bit respond to the Honorable that just spoke. You see, for me, I believe the path you are taking, I don't know which company has been narrowed down, but if it's TPE, I would speak that TPE are the best, or should I say stands to be the best company to conduct a technical audit. And I'm actually surprised that you had to conduct a bidding process. Maybe that means you had other interested parties. And you see, the uniqueness of that plant, let me mention now, is such that if we must get a technical audit that is bankable and true, then no other company can conduct a technical audit than the original builders themselves. And Honorable, the mistake we have made in the past, I'm aware of the several audits that have taken place. As a matter of fact, these past audits that took place, apart from the one in the year 2001 under President Obasanjo, all others were just a sham. They were just an avenue to embezzle money, because they were being conducted by people that had zero or no clue of that entire place. So, Honorable Minister, if, I don't know which company it is that has probably won the bid, but I would have said, if I were in your shoes, you would have just made a case for a sole sourcing expertise, whereby TPE themselves would have been brought in at an agreed rate, which I'm sure will be lower than any others. Because I recall I mentioned in the year 2016, when I visited them, while I was advocating for them, I visited them and they gave me a note that at that time, the technical audit would cost $500,000. I have it written somewhere. From TP, they said they will come down if we provide logistics and they work in collaboration with Nigerian engineers. It was going to cost $500,000 in the year 2016, based on the report they sent to me. And at that time, dollar was 189 naira. So that means a technical audit would have cost nothing less than 100 million. I don't know, my maths, please. 500,000, yeah, about 100 million. But then I was surprised to see Honorable Fayemi, who was a minister at that time, put out about 5 or so billion naira. If I'm right with my figures. So what we're trying to say is, please ensure that the technical audit is conducted by the same people that you know. It's just like going to a hospital. If I'm not feeling fine and I go to a particular hospital for tests, I cannot go with that same result to another hospital. The next hospital wants to conduct its own test. So that's how it should be, please. For the technical audit, I support you in conducting one, because I've seen the past ones, they are not bankable. So that's what I want. I hope I've answered that as well, somehow.
Please. Questions, or one set of 4 questions, actually 7 questions. So I'll just take them one by one. What drove the tripartite agreement, and what is the role of each party? What I would say is all the partners are interrelated, right? However, in terms of the specific details of what drove and the role of each party, I would like to request to answer that at a closed session with the
Minister, please. You see, we have had situations whereby Nigeria, this is Nigeria's dream. Nigerians want to know, do they have to go to China tomorrow to get a letter of employment? Maybe some owner is somewhere.
Let me answer.
Tell us who the owners are.
Yes.
Why is Novostal a partner? Why is Proforce Manufacturing a partner? Is any partner bringing in money, or are they holding interest for some group of people?
Okay.
Just let us know.
Okay,
why you did not engage TP directly, TP and Ministry of Steel.
Okay, let me just, first of all, they are not holding interest for anybody, right? TPE is government owned. Novostal is a privately owned company, right? TPE is a Russian company, so it's owned by the Russian government. Now, to expedite the process, if you have to go through a G2G agreement, this was what I wanted to discuss in private, right? If you have to go through a G2G agreement, it means that you have to go all the way to President Putin. You have to, and if you are going all the way to President Putin, it means that, you know, we have to work with Mr. President here to schedule a meeting between him and the President of Russia for them to sit down and have a G2G agreement. That was what President Buhari did in 2019, when he traveled to Russia and had a G2G agreement with, these are technical details that I thought, we didn't need to, we can just discuss it privately, but yeah, okay. Thank you.
You can keep all the details so that when we are in executive session, then you can give us details.
Yeah.
Then please go ahead with the questions asked so that we can progress.
So Are we going to, so the other question that I can clarify here openly is that, are we going to source for funds outside of that agreement? The answer is no. These partners are going to be the ones to bring in the funding, which is why they've been selected as the partners anyway. So just to clarify that. And the technical audit, who's conducting the technical audit? The technical audit is being conducted by the local partner of TPE. So effectively, it's TPE that is conducting the audit, because TPE is not registered as TPE in Nigeria. It's registered as TPE in Moscow, Russia, right? So they have a partner here, but the engineers that are going to conduct the technical audit are TPE engineers. From Russia. So it's TPE that will conduct the technical audit. And just to reiterate that the technical audit that is being conducted has to be bankable. So if like the distinguished senator mentioned, if you conduct a technical audit that is not sanctioned by the people that are bringing in the funding, they'll just throw it in the dustbin. So that's why we have done that, sir. The host community would absolutely be put under consideration before anything is concluded. The host community plays a very significant role. Part of the privatization process would cater for the host community, and in fact, part of what I have done is that I have written to the governor of Kogi to mention that as part of the ongoing privatization process for both Itakpe and Ajaokuta, that the host community needs to be engaged. So we need to partner to engage the host community at the appropriate time. Has it been concessioned? The answer is no. Concession, concession was the word that was used, but at the end of the technical audit, the technical audit would determine whether it should be a PPP agreement or a concession or whatever. The most appropriate word is privatization. It would be based on the funding that would be brought in. They will give us a model that they believe works best. And that model has to be agreeable to the federal government of Nigeria. So it has not been concessioned. Nothing is cast in stone at this point in time. Everything would be determined after the audit is concluded. Hopefully, we can start the audit. We're hoping to start the process of the audit as quickly as possible. It's just government bureaucracy that is slowing down the process. But hopefully, we can start that process. The honourable member from Ondo State mentioned on page 10, Lagos. Sorry, sir. The honourable member from Lagos State mentioned the issues around project names. I think I'll just allow the permanent secretary just to quickly talk through that on page 10. Maybe you spend 2 minutes And then I'll now answer the last question, or maybe I'll take the last question on how we arrived at the 2 billion and the situation of the previous audits and why not fall back on them. The previous audits, first of all, were done around 10 years ago. When the previous audits were done, dollar was around 100, 150 naira to a dollar. The previous audits were done by the, counterparties that were not the ones bringing in the money, right? However, we have the previous audit that was done. So that previous audit that was done will not be jettisoned or it will not be thrown away. It would be built on to come up with the latest technical audit that would be done. How do we arrive at $2 billion? It was based on expert opinion that was given to me as the Minister of Steel. Now, at the end of the audit exercise, a proper figure would be determined. So this is just an estimate. The real number could be, yes, it's an indicative, sir. The real number could be lower or it could be higher. But the audit would determine that for us. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, like you mentioned, they are not exactly project names. These are budget line items, votes of charge. So this is how they are listed on the votes of charge. Does not really define the expenditure items. For the expenditure items or what they all meant, they are broken down in the documents that have been submitted, the procurement documents, the ministerial tender boards documents, and all of that. It also, in here, it also covers all the activities that have been
Please,
covered.
Pamsek, I disagree with this explanation. Because you saying that when budgets are presented to the National Assembly, they are presented in this form to mislead us, to deceive us. Because when you say it and then we appropriate them and then you do something else again, is that what you are trying to say?
Far from it.
Then why should should there be a budget line different from what you spend?
Okay. When we have a budget line, take for field inspection tools and equipment for regulatory functions. It's a budget line. It's a vote of charge. On the public procurement, the procurement plan is drawn based on that, and it is uploaded on the procurement portal. So it is the activities that that now encompass all of this that comes in our procurement documents. So if, for example, you have number 2, concession of Ajaokuta Steel Company Limited. Obviously, we don't intend to use, it's not like one budget, but there are sub-activities that will be conducted under that concession. So these are budget lines, not the projects. Perhaps because we call them project name, that's probably why it seemed like these are the activities carried out. But these are the budget lines as appropriated. And so what are the things that we did under those budget lines? They come under the breakdown of the different activities. Some of them are procurement entities, some of them are activities, as it were.
I want to write on SEM and then ask you some few questions. Appropriation, and we tend to overlook the overhead costs, which is equally very important because we also do appropriate for that. Honorable Minister, you have a budget line on page 8 which indicates that indicates as international travels and transport and others. By the PAMSEC's explanation, does that indicate that this budget line can be used for any other thing? Okay. And on this matter, have you provided this esteemed committee with the details of the international travels you have done, which indicates that you have 100 million, and same has been released and same has been utilized? And further to that, I would also like to ask, if the ministry has a legal department with a lawyer competent, how many lawyers? The Honorable Minister, of course.
The ministry shares a director who is a lawyer as the head of the legal department and a retinue of other lawyers who are posted from the Ministry of Justice. Specifically, I have, under the Ministry of State Development, at least 3 lawyers who report on the matters of state development to the Director of Legal Services.
Yes, I could see that on page 9, Naira, which was allocated to the ministry, and I just, as a layperson, believe that those lawyers are paid by government. And do you also pay them again to do anything? That is on page 9, under legal services. You said you have lawyers. Are they paid by the government?
Yes.
Please, the Honorable Minister.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. From time to time, we have some legal issues or proceedings against some of our agencies.
Did you have any in 2024, sir?
Yes, we did.
Can we have details?
Yes, are they here? Otherwise, okay, we'll provide the details.
Okay. And similarly, while we wait for the details for that, because we need to know what cases do you have in 2020 and then how it is done. Then if you go down, I will equally like to know if you have, what does the budget line honorarium and sitting allowance stands for? Yeah, I believe that, well, to me, I just thought that it is a sitting allowance for board members, and I don't know whether you have board members.
Yes, committees, subcommittees.
No, this is not committees. It is usually it is for board members. You don't.
Well, it's primarily for also makes provisions to make payments to board members as well.
No, but committees, what committee? It's not about description. I'm just asking why should it be honorarium and sitting allowance, and then you are talking about committee.
Okay. Okay, so last year during our cascade of the 8-point agenda for Mr. President, we had invited some resource persons to come and help us facilitate those sessions. So that's one example. When they come and facilitate those sessions, we give them honorarium for those.
So you
sittings.
did, that was what you did with the money?
Yes.
So can you give us details of those that you have engaged, the payment you have made, and then all the details, please?
Absolutely. We will
Yes.
provide it.
Yeah,
Please.
please.
Please note that.
And again, I could see, well, for staff. Is it for staff?
Yes,
The
for
work-
ministry staff.
Yeah, what do you do for the staff for welfare for them?
Yeah, at the end of every year, we give.
Yeah, he hasn't answered that question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify in terms of the welfare packages, I just clarified from my team. Sometimes, when we have staff in the ministry that, are bereaved, for example, we have some welfare packages for them in that instance or in that situation. Also, some of the staff that Yeah. Yeah. Repatriation allowance, reward and recognition, and things like that. So those.
Okay,
comes
Honorable
under-
Minister, please, I will like to provide details of all these things to the committee so that we can see how these funds are utilized, who are the beneficiaries, how are they paid, and yes, thank you. And I think the last question I will ask now is about, do you have a library?
Library. Yes.
And what sort of library do you have? You know, we have e-library.